A new round of polls out today show Hillary Clinton expanding her lead over Donald Trump after a bumpy week for the Trump campaign. The Washington Post and ABC News find Clinton with an 8-point lead, her widest lead in that survey since the beginning of summer. It also shows Clinton getting a larger bump after her party's convention than Trump got out of his. And our CBS News Battleground Tracker shows Hillary Clinton leading Trump by 12 points in the battleground state of Virginia, which now looks like less of a battleground state. Anthony Salvanto is our CBS News Director of Elections. He's in our Washington Bureau. And Ed O'Keefe is a political reporter with the Washington Post. He's also in our Washington Bureau. Anthony, I want to start with these Virginia numbers. Is this more than just the fact that Tim Kaine represents Virginia in the Senate and was a former governor of Virginia?
Yes, although that does seem to have helped. What's happened, Elaine, is that the commander-in-chief test, that whether or not voters feel that either candidate is prepared to be commander-in-chief, has now become the driving metric. At least it has this week. So a majority are saying that they think Hillary Clinton is prepared to be commander-in-chief, and a majority are saying that they feel Donald Trump is not. And that's so important. And the way you see that is that Hillary Clinton is not doing as well on so many other metrics that she's been trying to stress, like looking out for regular people or even telling the truth. But she's still leading, and she's leading big because she has such an advantage on that critical commander-in-chief test.
Ed, let me ask you, the big story of the past week, of course, was this infighting within the Republican Party, and more prominent Republicans saying they'd back Hillary Clinton. Do these high-profile defections really matter?
Not necessarily, especially because they're known. They're people who end up in news reports or on TV news shows, but they're not necessarily widely regarded or respected by a wide swath of Republican voters and voters overall. I think until or unless we see, sitting governors or sitting senators and congressmen who are not retiring from office this November starting to say these types of things, will it really resonate and really give, I think, more Republicans pause. He's doing poorly as it is right now, or worse than Clinton, at least, in maintaining support among Republicans. In our post-ABC polling, he only had 83% of Republicans on his side compared to 92% of Democrats for her. That shows you that there's, a good chunk of Republicans who are either not with him or still skeptical about whether or not they could vote for him.
Anthony, when you look at various surveys, it seems like many voters are more concerned about Trump than excited about Clinton. How much does that matter?
It matters a lot. What you see as we get from state to state, one of the things we noted when we did our Arizona survey, for example, is that Hispanic voters now say, more so than last time, that they're excited and enthusiastic about turning out, and they're solidly for Hillary Clinton. So enthusiasm does matter. And going back even to Ed's point, which I would second, when you look at these polls and you see over 90% of Democrats having come home to Hillary Clinton, but not yet all Republicans going back to or staying with Donald Trump, that's really where you see the movement. It's that falling away of Republicans from with Trump to undecided and unsure. Now, that may suggest that they can still come back if they start to see something that they like more, but that's really what's driving a lot of the movement in the polls this week, Elaine.
Ed, Donald Trump has clearly been targeting white working-class voters for much of his campaign. How critical is that group?
Absolutely critical for him because he's doing so poorly among blacks, among Hispanics, and among women generally. Again, looking at the numbers we have out today in this post-ABC poll, there's a real stark divide now among white voters without college degrees and those that have a college degree. He's winning among whites without college degrees, like 58 to 33%. Pretty decent margin there. But Mrs. Clinton now is beating Mr. Trump 50 to 44 among whites with college degrees. That's usually a group of folks that trends Republican. And his lead among college-educated white men is down into the single digits, which is worse than it was for Mitt Romney 4 years ago. If he cannot maintain wide margins among white voters, he's setting himself up for a pretty uncomfortable, pretty embarrassing loss probably for Republicans.
All right. Ed O'Keefe and Anthony Salvanto, let's see what this new week brings. Thank you both so much.
Take care.